Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Muslims Uncensored once again after a short break over the past couple of weeks as I've been reporting from inside Lebanon, and also Roshan's been focused on news here in the UK. But I am, alhamdulillah, back. I've survived. I'm still here going. And so we bring you Muslims Uncensored once again. And of course, Roshan is with us as well. So assalamu alaikum, Roshan. It's good to be back. I am alive and breathing, which I'm sure everyone's pleased about. But it was, of course, a very upsetting and disturbing trip as well. So yeah, I guess one of the things that we'll discuss today is the situation in the region. It is getting worse. It is expanding. And one thing which I learned while I was there is I got like a tiny taste of what it's like to live next door to this bloodthirsty regime that's just hell-bent on killing the indigenous people of that region. I got a tiny taste of it. So yeah, we'll discuss it. I guess
it's just terrorism every single night, because most of the stuff happened at night, didn't they? All the bombing raids and whatever.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is let me just play out a little clip out of here. These are a mix of some of the victims of the situation in Lebanon. These are displaced families, refugees from all over the country who have been forced to flee the bombing and so on. This is just a short taste of their experiences.
يا ريت يوقفوا هالقصف هذا، لأنه يعني نفسيتنا تعبت، فتنا بحالة اكتئاب نحن، يعني من ظلم لأظلم، من ظلم لظلم ما بيصير. يعني الأطفال بدها تعيش محرومين كل متطلبات الحياة، الأمان، الراحة، تأمن له شيء للولد. يعني اسأل أي طفل هلا من أولادنا، اسأله شو بيتمنى، بيقول لك شو بيتمنى.
شو بتتمنى يا محمد؟ خبرنا شو بدك تتمنى؟
بتمنى نعيش حياة حلوة ويبطلوا قذف، وإخواتي يدرسوا ونتعلم ونصير أحلى ناس.
ايه يعني انا بحكي انه مش لبنان كلها ارهاب، وما في ارهاب. نحن هن هون عم بدافعوا عن بلد وعن وطن، ونحن فلسطين هي بلدنا، وهي يعني من 48 هي صار مثل ما تقول لعب على قضية المسلمين، وهن أخذوا فلسطين منا يعني. ولما أهلنا بغزة قاموا على هالشيء، قاموا لأنه صار في.
So obviously that's just a few reactions. Yeah, I don't know. What I saw was just more of the same, really. A softer version of what's happening in Gaza, without a doubt. The potential for the genocide to spread into Lebanon is there. Israel has been massacring Lebanese people for decades, as I'm sure you remember from your reporting years ago, and they're happy to do it again. The one message that I would like to make, and I will continue making it as best I can, is a message that we all know already. It's that this is not precision strikes. This is not a controlled, restrained response by a poor Israeli victim country, however they want to describe what's going on. This is a rigorous, relentless attack on all of Lebanon. They've hit targets where they know civilians are there. Many civilians have been killed, many more maimed and injured, people buried under rubble. It's just like what's going on in Gaza, just the early stages. And the fact is that the mainstream media in the West is now jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, Israel's defending itself. They have every right to do what they're doing. We're a little bit sad about what's going on, but hey-ho, Israel needs to be defended. We have to keep arming them. So it's exactly the same thing. And it's all about the fact that the local indigenous people, the Arabs, the Muslims, they are okay to die. If they are mass murdered, it's sad, regrettable, whatever, but ultimately that's normal.
Yeah.
But if it happens in reverse, if they dare retaliate, then of course they get condemned as terrorists.
Yeah. I think even if 10, white English people or Western people die, then it's front page news, and it's like, no, this is acceptable. This is like a cause for war. Same for Jews, but when it comes to Palestinian or Lebanese Muslims, then nah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Collateral damage. It's regrettable, etc. Just platitudes. It's pathetic, isn't it? I mean, you got a taste of it, didn't you? I mean, during the day it was quiet, and during the night it was busy, was it? Or
yeah. So what normally happened, and this was like every day, where I was based in Beirut was a slightly safer part, but you could see the southern Shia majority suburbs in the south. And I'll actually play out a clip now of what I was
Gaza,
witnessing.
The civilians in the West Bank
A very big strike.
are protected
Whoa!
somehow, and the situation
Allahu
somehow
Akbar.
improves.
La ilaha
How?
illallah,
I have
Muhammadur
absolutely
Rasulullah.
no idea,
La
quite
ilaha
frankly.
illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah.
So that's just one of many explosions. As the footage rolls on, you'll see more. You could see it, you could hear it. They ranged in size and ferocity, but Beirut was being hit every single night. And they were focusing initially on areas which were considered Hezbollah strongholds.
Yeah.
But then they've started to creep out,
Anywhere.
and residential areas which don't have particularly anything to do, as far as we know, with this group, were also being hit as well. And again, civilians were being harmed. There were constant drones flying over Beirut as well, even during the day, and it was really loud. You couldn't see it clearly, but it was always there. And it was terrorism, as you say. It was a constant reminder that we will hit you whenever we want. We control the skies. You're like little ants scurrying around below us, and we will kill you if we want. And I mean, the actual strikes that were taking out senior leadership of Hezbollah were humongous, especially the main one.
Busters, yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, again, they talk about precision strikes. They flattened entire blocks, several buildings in one hit.
Yeah, that's their military doctrine, isn't it? If they get a whiff that a Hezbollah terrorist is somewhere, they'll just bomb a whole area. And to take out one person, they don't mind killing 1,000. That's their doctrine. And that's why even on October the 7th, obviously, that was their doctrine, even with their own people. To take out Hamas terrorists, then they're literally going to kill their own people as well. That's why they ended up killing hundreds of their own citizens that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
whereas on the other side, it's interesting because Hezbollah, by and large, have limited their attacks to military bases, haven't they, and military targets, whereas they've kind of avoided that escalation of hitting civilians, which they could do if they wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think groups like this, and also even Iran itself as well, they know that regardless of what they do, they could throw flowers at Israel. They'll still get accused of targeting civilians, being terrorists, being bloodthirsty, barbaric Muslims or whatever. So they know that. So I think that they actually, believe it or not, go a little bit out of their way to try and focus only on military targets as a way of combating this narrative in their own way. Israel, however, literally could throw nuclear weapons on purely children's hospitals, and they would be told, well done, that was a pretty precision strike of yours. There might have been a tunnel under there. Who knows? Well done, Israel. You know, that's literally how they're treated. Here is more proof of what I saw, because again, I visited some of the sites that were hit to see what was going on. This gentleman here, Uncle Adel, is someone we know actually at Five Pillars. He's met Dilly, he's met me now. He's a beautiful, beautiful man who does aid work there in Lebanon and was actually trying to help people now. His home was next to a target that was struck by Israel, and it was just a matter of days after I left. And he was based just around the corner from where I was. His whole family were at home at the time. It happened during the night. They narrowly survived. It was literally right next door to where he lives. And you can see the devastation in the street there and the damage done to a building opposite his. I mean, that is a purely residential street. He has no idea why they struck it. You know, he has no idea. There were no stockpiles of missiles on that street. You know, that they had no idea if there's any even activities of any groups, political groups or military groups on that street. It's a purely residential street where all the families know each other. Who knows why it was hit? But the fact is,
they also want to turn the population of Lebanon against Hezbollah, and they feel that, you know, it is part of their strategy to punish civilians, with the intention of making the civilians blame Hezbollah for the war. So it is definitely part of their strategy, yeah. Yeah,
you say that. I think it's worth just going straight to Gaza as well, because what's happened, what was it, like 2 days ago now?
Yeah.
A mother and son were burned alive. Sha'aban, I believe his name was filmed dying on camera after an Israeli strike on a hospital in Gaza. And eyewitnesses now say that people were burned alive. They could hear the screams. We'll play out some of the footage.
Because they were being sheltered in tents, weren't they?
Being sheltered in tents. This is Israel. This is what Israel has given to the region. You know, I mean, this is as horrific and disturbing as I imagine it was when the Mongols invaded and burned down Baghdad. You know, they went there and built piles of skulls, human skulls. That's how it's narrated in history books. I mean, Israel is doing everything but that. You know, it's burying those skulls under rubble. It's not piling them up yet. But this is murderous, monstrous.
They're just
and it's traumatizing.
sadistic monsters and demons, and the way they glory in it. I'm not sure whether you saw the Al Jazeera documentary. The way the soldiers take selfies as buildings are being destroyed in the background.
Yes.
How they're laughing at the sufferings of the Gazans. These are evil people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did a tweet. I don't like swearing, but I did a tweet the other day. I said something like, if you're still supporting Israel now, a year after what happened, then you're just an evil bastard.
Yeah.
You're just an evil, disgusting piece of you-know-what.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how this has been allowed.
Yeah.
For us to, because we live in the modern age now where we talk about how great the world is and how we're sort of eliminating poverty and scientific exploration and we're so great now.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is stuff that would have happened back in the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
And we've normalized it today. It's like, oh, okay, there's burning people being burned alive and stuff like that. Civilians.
What's the point of learning?
Mass siege of an entire area, like a medieval style siege, cutting off war and aid and everything. Oh, okay, yeah.
What's the point of learning history, for example? Like we learn about the slave trade. We learn about Nazi Germany. We learn about all these horrific colonialism, all these atrocities that happened in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
And we look at them and we say, oh, that was bad. We have to learn the lessons. It's happening now.
Yeah.
And we're not learning the lessons. We're just as evil as we were in the past, you know?
Yeah,
what's the point of like studying history in school anymore if we don't actually draw the lessons from it?
Yeah, and I mean, the left always gets slammed for like praising, I don't know, Stalin or Mao or one of these like large-scale killers. But I mean, just look at who the West is backing. I mean, Israel is like worse. Do you know what I mean? What they're doing is just as bad, if not worse, than what Mao or any of these other people did on the left-hand side of politics. So, you know, I don't know. But obviously with that going on, there is a wider geopolitical game still going on. The war is expanding.
Yes.
And it could easily turn into World War III at any stage. I know some people think that's a bit too far-fetched. But the question is, after Iran's attack on Israel, will Israel respond? They still haven't.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get your thoughts on that because I was sort of out of the game. I was just coming back to London around that time. So obviously a massive attack. And what do you think is going to happen now?
Well, I think generally, despite all Israel's propaganda successes over the last few months, you know, taking out the heads of Hezbollah and Hamas, and seemingly be able to take out the leadership at will, my honest view is that they've only achieved propaganda victories and tactical victories, not strategic victories. When I talk about strategic victories, I'm talking about, you know, the really important stuff, like allowing their citizens to go back to the north of the country, destroying Hamas, destroying Hezbollah. These are strategic, massive victories, rather than just morale-boosting victories. They've achieved none of that. And as we can see, Hezbollah, despite losing many of its leadership, is able to kill Israeli soldiers, you know, not at will, but they're able to kind of repel them from southern Lebanon, the ground invasion, and they're able to hit Israelis inside Israel. So as long as that's happening, Israel has not won. I think generally we have to realize that Israel is the superior power because it's backed by America, because it has superior technology, weaponry, intelligence, etc., etc. But that doesn't mean it can win. And the capacity for the Palestinians, the Lebanese to take pain is far greater than the Israelis. And I think we have to realize that this is a long war of attrition between, you know, David and Goliath, I guess, and the pro-Palestinians are not going to win this quickly. It's going to be, if they're going to defeat Israel, then this is going to take decades or even longer than that. But I think that they are realizing now that this is something they're prepared to do because, you know, Israel kills one Hamas, 1,000 Hamas are born. They kill one Hezbollah, 1,000 Hezbollah are born. So, you know, the Israelis are laughing now and they're taking the mick and they think that military victory is close. I think it's far from close. I honestly do not believe that they can win as long as the Palestinians do not surrender and those who support the Palestinians don't surrender. But I think this is a war on every level, you know, on the military level, on the media level, on the intelligence level, on every single level, propaganda level. And it's going to be a long one. And I think those who support Palestine have to get into this mindset that this isn't going to be a short war. If it is a short war, then Israel will win it. But as long as the pro-Palestinians can drag that out, then there's every possibility in the distant future that they will win. That's my take.
Yeah, it's like Israel wants a decisive battle to end it quickly.
Israel can't sustain long wars.
We shouldn't give them that.
Yeah,
they shouldn't give them that.
In terms of why Israel hasn't hit back yet, is obviously it fears the consequences of a larger scale Iranian attack, because Iran has hit Israel twice now. The first one was fireworks, largely. It was a message. Even the second one was a message. It wasn't designed to kill lots of Israelis. They were going for military bases. It was a bigger message than the previous time. But I think the next Iranian attack on Israel, they've clearly said, look, we're going to take out your infrastructure. Oil facility. I mean, Israel's a tiny country, okay? I mean, you know, even if Israel wins a war against Iran, Iran has the geographical landmass 100 times bigger than Israel. You know, it will survive somehow, you know, and it will recover. Whereas Israel's a tiny country. Can it ever recover? Probably not. So the Israelis are very scared of a reaction to whatever attack they're planning. So obviously they're getting this new missile defense system from America. That's interesting because it has to come from one of the bases in the Muslim countries in the Middle East, whether that's Qatar, Bahrain, or wherever, you know. So it'll be interesting, where is that THAAD, I think it's called THAAD, air defense system, where is it coming from? And whoever supplies it, they are complicit in, you know, the genocide, and they're taking the side of Israel as well. Not just the Americans, but whoever supplies it from within that region. So they're waiting to cover their defense system, their air defense, so that the Iranian retaliation will be ineffective. So there are some people in Iran now thinking, like, maybe we should strike now, before Israel, you know, completely covers its air defenses and our attack is ineffective. There might be a small window for Iran to attack. I don't think they will attack. I think they'll wait for the Israeli retaliation. I think that retaliation might be quite muted rather, and limited. I don't think they're going to try and take out Ayatollah Khamenei. I don't think they're going to try and even hit oil infrastructures, because that will rise the price of oil ahead of the US election. The Americans don't want them to do that. Americans don't want them to take out any nuclear facilities. They're buried beneath the mountains, so that would be quite hard to do anyway without American help. But I think they will go for some kind of limited strike against Iran in the coming weeks, and they will count on having that air defense system in place so that any Iranian retaliation is ineffective.
That is interesting. I know that Iran has vowed that if Israel does respond in any way, shape, or form, then that will mean that Iran has to up its response.
Yes.
And it will be bigger than what we've already seen. Do you think that, because I guess there's a mixed reaction. A lot of people were celebrating Iran's attack on Israel.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you also had the critics saying, well, again, it was more fireworks, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
How did you interpret it? Because at the time, I think I was still in Lebanon at the time.
We did a live.
We did a live, didn't we? And I remember the mood on the ground was, this is a massive, unprecedented attack. Everyone was celebrating it. And
Lebanon,
they were sort of talking as if like, wow, this is like huge.
Proper.
This is a massive attack. Yeah, absolutely. And it'll put Israel in its place. Do you think that that was actually the reality of what happened?
No, as I said before, I think it was a bigger message than last time, but I think it was still a message. It wasn't an attack designed to kill lots of people, whether they were soldiers or civilians. It was just a larger attack than last time, and maybe a final warning to Israel before a serious attack which will kill people, kill Israelis, happens.
Because they did say that attack was in response, I think. They said this was our response to the assassinations.
Yeah.
So not really a proper response then, I guess.
Robert, we have to, despite Iran's bluster and their big talk, we have to realize they're no match for Israel militarily. So the way they win this is through death by 1,000 cuts and a long war of attrition. If they open up a kind of all-out war with Israel now, they're going to lose, and that will give Israel the cause it wants to destroy not only the Iranian regime but kill lots of civilians, etc. So I think the Iranians are calculating that they even now they don't want to give Israel that excuse.
Iran has been accused of betraying its proxies in the region. Do you think that that's true? Is that a fair point to make?
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to guess what they're thinking. I'm sure that Hamas, I mean, they call right from the start for everyone to join in the war. You know, those in the West Bank, those in Lebanon, those in Iran, those in Yemen. And no one really responded in a big way. Even Hezbollah, they call it a support front, you know, where they were lobbing missiles but being careful not really to kill anybody. So I think from Hamas's point of view, probably yes. But they didn't say anything because obviously they were relying on Iran for support. So they weren't criticizing Iran, but I'm sure they probably were disappointed. And probably Hezbollah disappointed as well. But at the same time, there's still a united front, I think, fighting this war against Israel. And they're the only ones doing it, you know. So none of the Sunni Arab countries are doing it. This is the reality. None of the Sunni Arab countries are doing it, and none of the other Muslim countries are doing it. So this front, which is mainly Shia, are the only ones at the moment militarily fighting Israel. And that is the reality, no matter how you want to spin it.
There is something that was, I suppose, was like a conspiracy theory for many years, but has now resurfaced again, and it appears to be a legit like strategy of Israel. It's the Greater Israel plan.
It's not a conspiracy theory anymore, mate.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. We've spoken about this before in the past. I think the Muslim community has always been very suspect about it. This concept of Israeli Zionists not being happy with just stealing Palestine only.
Yeah.
They actually want to create a Greater Israel, which includes Lebanon, Syria, bits of Iraq, right up through to some of the Saudi territories, Jordan, bits of Egypt. Basically a bit of everything, really.
Yeah.
They're not just happy with their little piece of Palestine, they want everything else. And now there's actually been comments, a far-right Israeli minister actually spoke about the idea of a Greater Israel and the fact that they should pursue it, and it will extend as far as Damascus. Very quickly,
That's just Jerusalem. That's just Jerusalem, not the whole of Israel.
Yeah, exactly. And there was also an article which has now been removed by an Israeli newspaper, the Jerusalem Post, which again spoke about Lebanon being part of their promised territory. So basically discussing how it should be a part of Israel, essentially, in their ideal Zionist worldview. They've now deleted that article when everyone got outraged by it.
When they
clearly
discovered their secret plans. Oh, damn!
Clearly,
the game away here.
That's the thing. Clearly, it's there inside their circles. They're talking about it. But if like someone like us says it, oh, you're an anti-Semite. Oh, Israel's not stealing any land. How dare you suggest such a thing? And now it's like, well, actually, they are. They always have been.
I mean, I think a lot to unpack here. What is the Greater Israel? I mean, it's based on the biblical notion of what Israel was, which was a lot bigger than it is today. It's not completely agreed on what that Greater Israel is. Some people just say it's bits of Egypt, bits of Lebanon, bits of Jordan, West Bank. Some people say it's only the West Bank, not even Gaza. But some have a maximalist interpretation of what a Greater Israel is, and he's one of them. So this is Smotrich, the finance minister, who's part of the government in Israel. Him and Ben Gvir, the other minister, who basically got Netanyahu by the short and curlies. I mean, Netanyahu's extreme, but these guys are really extreme. So there's a few things going on here. So he believes that a Greater Israel does include like bits of Saudi Arabia, Iraq, as you said, Egypt. It's a huge state in the Middle East, and they believe in that, and that's what they want. But step by step, little by little, that is their plan over the next 100 years or whatever. Now, it's important to know that the Israeli government, or regime, I should call it, is controlled by these people. You know, he can bring down Netanyahu tomorrow. So can Ben Gvir if they pull out of that governing coalition. And they are fundamentalists, Zionists with an expansionist worldview. Israel has always been an expansionist. They just don't like giving the game away. They give the game away in Hebrew, internally, but in English, they're like, oh no, we believe in human rights and a fair solution and stuff like that. It's all like double talk, you know. Their real plan is for a Greater Israel, because Israel's small. You know, it might be powerful in terms of military, but every country that aspires to be a big regional power needs to expand its territory. And they want Lebensraum. The Nazis used to call it Lebensraum, you know, where they would expand Germany into Poland, whatever. So it's a similar thing going on here. They need more living space for their people, for their settlers, you know, in Lebanon, in Syria, and more resources. Otherwise, they know that Israel can't survive as this little state, you know, long term. So they want more Lebensraum, as the Nazis used to call it, and that's what they're going for. So no one should be in any delusion about the Israelis want a deal, and they want a two-state solution. You know, Israel is a radicalized racist society. The so-called leftists in Israel don't count anymore. They might have done 20 years ago or more than that, but they don't count anymore. This is an expansionist state, and they will expand by whatever means. If they can expand by diplomacy, fine. If they can expand by just facts on the ground, by building more settlements, fine. But if they have to do it by war, they will do it. This is what we are facing. So all you traitors, like in Saudi Arabia, who think you can do a deal with these guys, you know, and normalize, they are after your territory. They are after your territory in Iraq, in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, in Lebanon, in Jordan, all the Palestinians' land. This is what their game is, and we need to expose their game and realize what it is. These guys are expansionist monsters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all these normalization individuals, that they think that, you know, we've tried fighting them, we've lost in the past, so now we've got to normalize with these people. But the fact is, you shouldn't normalize when your head is in the beast's mouth. You know, that's literally what they're trying to do. Israel has its eye on not just Palestine, but much more Arab land, Muslim land, and they want to normalize with this regime that wants to ultimately exterminate them and kill more of their people and steal more land. It's a stupid strategy, and I think that's what annoys me so much about normalizers in our communities here, and also about Israel supporters here in the West. As you said, they're just misrepresenting what's actually going on there.
They know
they're
what's
just
happening.
pretending. Yeah, exactly.
They know exactly what Israel is, but their job is to provide PR cover for this monstrous state in the West, so it will be palatable to a larger audience. But everyone, I'm sorry, the game's up. Everyone can see what they're doing. Everyone can see what they're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, as that continues, we will, of course, continue reporting on it and bringing you all reaction as it happens. And, of course, we're all praying for Lebanon and Palestine and all of the people of that region to hopefully shake off the shackles holding them back and to liberate their lands once again, inshallah. There is another story which I thought was really interesting. You covered this while I was away, and it created quite a reaction. So obviously, it's a massive Ummah-wide effort to support Palestine right now, and anyone who's dragging their heels or not doing what they should be is getting called out and condemned. You spotted the fact that there were Muslim footballers playing for the French national team, 3 of them, I believe, and they were playing against Israel. So they were playing, normalizing in a way, you know, engaging in sports and whatever with this regime whilst it's massacring Muslims in Palestine and Lebanon. And you said that this was outrageous and shameful, and asked the question, are we being too harsh with these footballers, or do we need to be harsher in condemning them for playing and normalizing? They should be boycotting, if anything, at the very least. Just tell me about the reaction. I think it created quite a stir.
Quite mixed. I mean, look, this Ousmane Dembele plays for PSG, William Saliba plays for Arsenal, Ibrahim Konate plays for Liverpool. 2 of them play in the Premier League. They're very well-known footballers here in the UK. So they play for the French national team. Excellent footballers, all of them. But also Muslims and practicing Muslims, allegedly proud Muslims as well. And they played against Israel at a time when Israel is massacring our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Lebanon. And I just do not for the life of me know how they can do that if you are a believing and practicing Muslim. You know, this is, I think, what we don't, and obviously a lot of, what really frustrates me even more is that a lot of Muslims will make excuses for them, and they'll say, oh no, but they will be sacked. I mean, they're multimillionaires, so even if they do get sacked from the French national team, it doesn't matter, they've got money for life, right? And, it'll harm their careers. Who cares about their careers? The Palestinians and Lebanese, they're losing everything. I mean, they would love to have a career, but they don't even have children because they've been massacred by Israel. They don't have even mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. So they care about their careers. They care about their achievements in football, kicking a stupid ball around. You know, their fame and fortune. It's absolutely disgusting. And what disgusts me almost as much as these people that are normalizing Israel is the Muslims that are making excuses for them. You know, I can't believe the amount of Muslims that are willing to make excuses for these people.
Yeah.
And brothers and sisters, we have to realize this is an all-out effort we're in, you know, to struggle against Israel. And everyone has to play a part. You know, those people who have no platform still have a role to play. It could be boycotting Israel, not buying Israeli products, or those that collaborate Israel. It could be just, you know, talking to your colleagues at work about the situation. But these people have a massive platform. I mean, even if just one of them said, no, I'm willing to sacrifice my career and millions for the cause of my brothers and sisters in Palestine and in Lebanon. What an impact they would make. They would be heroes for history would record them as a hero. Much more fame and notoriety than, you know, winning the World Cup or winning the European Championships.
Yeah.
But they're not willing to do it. They're not willing to do it. And I think we just have to hold ourselves and each other to a higher standard, because that's what it's going to take to struggle and to defeat Israel, is a all-out effort on behalf of every single Muslim in the world to do what they can to struggle against this Zionist entity according to what they can do.
Yeah, we have to be selfless as well, and I think there was a missed opportunity here. These guys, you know, they could have made massive international headlines by taking some kind of action here. Any action would have been appreciated, even quite mild action like just pulling out of the French national team and saying I'm not playing for France if need be, you know, at the very least something, anything. But yeah, like you say, there was nothing. But you still don't think you're being a bit too harsh? I mean, they are basically what I would say to you.
Did you not just listen to that rant?
I did, but what I would say to you is that let's say they did do something. They are still a bit useless, aren't they? They're just footballers. So we shouldn't perhaps.
But they have a huge media platform, don't they? I mean, I'm guessing all of them have millions of followers on social media. That is something, and it encourages better behaviour in others.
If they did that, though, if they did exactly what you want, their career would be tarnished.
Good.
But it wouldn't achieve anything for Palestine ultimately, would it? It wouldn't save any lives. You think
no,
so?
it wouldn't save any lives necessarily, but it would
liberate Palestine.
It would set an example. Of course it wouldn't, Robert, but come on, we're not talking about that. It would set an example. And what I'm saying is every single one of us has a role to play, small or big. And cumulatively, you know, the whole is more than the sum of the parts, right? So my argument is if every one of us did something, yes, it would liberate Palestine. But the fact is that these footballers, and it's not just them, obviously it's so much more, and yes, there are many more people that have much more power than them, but I'm talking about every single one of us has to be held to account, and we have to hold each other to account. And that's what it's going to take to defeat Israel.
I must admit, I do prefer it when, in the Olympics, for example, when an athlete goes up against an Israeli opponent, like in fighting or martial arts. I much admired the athletes, Muslim athletes, who refuse to compete. They pull out.
It's a well-known
thing. The ones who compete and even beat up the Israeli.
It's part of BDS. It's part of BDS, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's about a full-on boycott. I mean, South Africa. That's how South Africa ultimately was taken down. Sporting boycott, artistic boycott, economic boycott, military boycott, everything.
Yeah.
Everything played into taking apartheid Israel down, and the same thing is going to happen with Israel.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people enjoy watching MMA fighters take on Israelis and beat them up. And I get why, because they want to see.
But what if they lose? There's a chance that they might lose.
They could lose, and so it's part of the bigger thing. It's like we shouldn't allow, because they want to be included.
Yeah.
They want to say we're legitimate, we have a right to be here, and we should take part in these arenas as to represent our nation, as if it's a thing. And we shouldn't be allowing that. We should literally go, no, I'm not even going to look at you. I don't want to talk to you. You are nothing. I'm not going to compete with you. There is no honour in competing with you. You don't deserve any attention whatsoever. You are just an evil, nasty
It's like we get invited on, I don't know, things like Talk TV and other platforms like this, and we're invited to debate Israelis. I have no interest in debating Israelis. They are my enemy. I don't want to talk to my enemy. I don't want to acknowledge my enemy. And if I'm debating them, I'm giving them credibility. I'm like saying, all right, you are my equal here.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you're not my equal. You know, I don't care about you. And that's the attitude
morally
that we
lower
have to
than
have,
us.
because, as you say, they want acceptance.
Yes, exactly.
They want to be part of the Olympic
legitimacy.
Games.
They want
sport,
legitimacy.
you know, they want the legitimacy. Do not give them that legitimacy.
Talking of people who want legitimacy, there is an Israeli vlogger who goes by the name Nas Daily. That's not his real name, of course, but he was...
Nasser Hussein, I think.
Yeah, that's right. He is, of course, well known for trying to whitewash, promote Israeli propaganda. He's a big promoter of normalization. He did an event in Tokyo, Japan, and he was filmed being confronted by pro-Palestine activists there. I'll just play out a clip now because it was brilliant.
Coming down, one just about. We gotta go inside.
He's Japanese. That's incredible. A Japanese person is coming to
down,
tell
one
an
just
Israeli
about.
Palestinian.
We gotta go inside.
What they think? Yeah, Israeli, yes.
Life is so great. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is so great. Some people are being murdered. Children being murdered. Obliterated. Some of them evaporated, Nas Daily. Evaporated. What do you have to say to that? What do you have to say to that? Nothing. Because you're the biggest fucking sellout on the planet. You have Palestinian children's blood on your hands. You got funded by the Zionist, racist, terrorist entity. And now you're just enjoying their money. You have blood on your hands.
So there you go. I mean, I enjoyed the watch, but you know, Nas Daily, I think he's been a problem character for a long time. He's quite cowardly. He normally runs away and avoids being caught out like this. He sort of just posts stuff on social media. Obviously gets pushed. His content gets pushed as well because they want it out there. That's the only reason he's sort of relevant in a way. He gets watched. I don't think his views are genuine, by the way.
Don't you?
No. He's just getting pushed and paid to get out there because they want... It's all part of this campaign to normalise and to make Israel seem great. It's part of their propaganda strategy.
He's one of the biggest normalisers, isn't he?
Yeah, so cool. He self-identifies as Israeli-Palestinian.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are question marks over about...
But you know, it's how he says Israeli first.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
he's Israeli. So he is, I would say he is a Palestinian Muslim living in Israel. That's how I term it. But he calls himself an Israeli first.
Yeah.
So...
do you know what? The Muslim thing is well controversial because I don't think he can be called a Muslim.
Oh, really?
Because he doesn't call himself a Muslim.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
He did a really weird video a while back where he said he's creating his own religion because he something like that because he wants to respect all religions and
he's creating his own religion.
He's just a complete nutter. I don't even know if he's like how Arab he actually is. I don't know. He looks a bit unusual, like maybe he's a weird mix. He had an Israeli girlfriend at one stage. He called his religion Nazism or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Naziism. It was crazy. It's so crazy. This guy is literally wrong in so many levels. He looks wrong. He sounds wrong.
He looks wrong.
Honestly, I mean, just look at his teeth. There's something wrong with this guy. I think
that's the worst thing, isn't it?
Do you know what? I think he people say he's like brainwashed or indoctrinated. He might have had like a lobotomy of some sort. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. My gut tells me there's something not normal.
This is what happens.
He's like a clone.
This is what happens, brothers and sisters, when I let Robert freestyle. It'll go from
script.
It'll go from teeth to
when he let me out and give me some freedom. Yeah. But yeah, there's something wrong with him. But I can't tell what.
He didn't take his pills this morning. Yeah.
There's something wrong with him. Yeah. Okay, believe me, Roshan, there's something not right about him. He's like a cyborg or something.
Right.
It's just programmed to say whatever like Netanyahu programs him to say.
Okay.
But basically, I think at the very least he's a weirdo. No one likes him really. He pushes
idiots like him.
Yeah, exactly. Just
there's a lot of them,
people.
unfortunately.
Yeah, stupid people.
Yeah.
And he pushes things that should be condemned wholeheartedly. Yeah. We're not even going to go into the religious stuff, but just politically, all this whitewashing and stuff. He self-identifies as Israeli-Palestinian. There's no such thing. You know, it's like Israel. The people on that land is Palestine. It's all Palestine. Okay.
And he has been celebrating Israel's recent victories, hasn't he? I think on social media.
Gosh. And the guy makes me feel so sick.
He's one of these. The only thing I would say about him, because I don't think watched him as much as you have. Obviously, you're a big follower of him. But he's like one of those, oh, let's all live together in peace. And let's put everything to one side. Israel doesn't want to live in peace. And Israel just wants to dominate and to crush and to occupy and to expand. And I mean, just don't listen to this guy, brothers and sisters. Don't share his stuff. But yeah, he does make some kind of, you know, we live in this dumb social media age, don't we? Where everyone's impressed by these 1-minute videos from around the world. So he goes to some exotic destinations and he just kind of, he's happy clappy wherever he goes. And, oh, let's have a wonderful time. And complete idiot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why we've got to be cautious about people in our communities who are less famous, or I suppose I don't want to give them that compliment, who are pushed less onto the world on social media than this guy Nasty Nas. People in our circles who claim that they're part of our community, who say like we're Muslim and this or that, but they're pushing some agenda, liberalism, feminism, LGBT rainbow mafia stuff, normalization as well, interfaith, Israeli and state-backed interfaith initiatives. Watch out, because they're just they're the little diet version of what this scumbag is all about. He's just a slightly more known version.
The Trojan horses of what they do.
They are the Trojan horses.
I would also say one thing to that. I think there's a lot of people on social media that appear to be saying things that we like, but actually they're just making money off what's going on, and they're kind of they'll say 10 good things and 1 bit of poison, but they're not genuine people, and I think they're just trying to monetize their Twitter or whatever. We're approaching the end of the show, but I've got something to ask you and the viewers. Do you want to see me on Big Brother? Do you want me to go on Big Brother? No, definitely not.
I've been invited to apply. Whatever that means. So I assume that if I was to apply, they would bring me on. They obviously have seen my content. They love what I'm doing. I'm a big name in this room.
In your household.
I'm a big name among fellow Carters. I'm well known and established. They obviously wanted me on for whatever reason. My looks, my charms, whatever it is. They fancy having me on Big Brother.
They wanted you on because you're a controversial Muslim. And they would get you on with an Israeli in that. They'd make you live in a house with an Israeli.
That'd be great. I mean,
that'd be great. But first of all, free mixing is haram, right? So you can't live in a house with women and all that kind of stuff.
So I was invited on. The message is here. I'm not making this up. I was invited to apply. So I don't know if they would have gone for me or not. They obviously were reaching out to me for some reason. I just ignored it at the time. This was several months back.
Do you want to read it out?
Now Big Brother is on. Yeah, it's a pretty standard invitation. It just said, "Hi, Robert. My name is so-and-so. I'm an assistant producer at Initial TV. We're currently casting the next series of Big Brother, the iconic reality series on ITV2, ITVX, blah, blah, blah. We're looking for people of all walks of life to apply as housemates. I was wondering if you might be interested in applying. If so, you can fill out the application, blah, 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 and just send us your social media and photos and all that type of stuff here." But it was an official invite to apply. The reason I ignored it and wasn't interested was because, first of all, I'm too busy. I've got stuff going on here with 5 Pillars. This is my space. I'm happy here in my own humble way. But also, you know...
I wouldn't have given you the time off.
These guys... That's it. I think, basically, I'm not a loser to go on Big Brother. Do you know what I mean? Big Brother's a bunch of losers. But what they're trying to do is, obviously, like you said...
The real reason, brothers and sisters, is he applied but got turned down. But anyway, this is his justification afterwards.
Damn you. But no, I ignored it at the time, but I didn't realise what they were doing until now. Now it seems there's a Lebanese Palestinian guy on there. There's a sister who's of Somali heritage on there. So they're picking and choosing Muslims and Arabs to go on there. They're trying to be a bit quirky, a bit controversial amid what's going on there. But it does make me think, maybe we should have tried to go on there, Roshan. They would have had us, and I think they would have been a good opportunity for us to push what we like to push.
These reality shows, they're just, I mean, they're haram for a start. They would have had you on with a lesbian, a transvestite, all these controversial characters, just trying to wind you up.
Surely we could have done a bit of dawah. We could have done our 5 Pillars work.
You don't do dawah in a brothel.
We could have plugged 5 Pillars.
You don't do dawah in a brothel. That's an Islamic principle. You don't do dawah in a, you don't go into the den of fitna to do dawah. Like, can you walk into a pub and do dawah? You can't. There's rules.
No, there are rules. There's no doubt about that. But I know for a fact, like, Soho is well-known dodgy bit of London in that regard. I think there is a masjid in Soho, not obviously in a brothel, but it's in a dodgy area because they're trying to bring people away from evil and bring them to the good.
Well,
do you know what I mean? So they're confronting it.
You're trying to widen it out. So like that's like saying you can't do dawah in Britain because it's a kafir country. But no.
So basically,
I
what
think
you're
the
saying,
Islamic principle is if the Islamic principle, I'm not a scholar, but as far as I understand it, the Islamic principle is if the main purpose of a place is haram, then you can't go in there and try and do dawah. So, for example, let's say, for example, people, brothers and sisters, you might correct me here, but let's say, for example, you want to go and play snooker in a snooker club, and there's a small little bar in the corner, and it's not the main purpose. Some people will say you're allowed to go in there and play snooker as long as you don't have anything to do with this small little bar in the corner. Some might have a difference of opinion on that. Yeah. But if the main purpose of the place is drinking, consuming alcohol, and there's a little snooker table right in the corner, then you're definitely not allowed to go in there. You know, that's as far as I understand.
Through drunks to get to the pool table. Okay, so I guess what you're saying is we should go outside Big Brother studio
and do a protest.
Do a protest out there. That would be a fun
down
one.
with this sort of thing.
Yeah, well, once this alleged Islamist takeover of Britain comes to fruition, maybe we'll outlaw Big Brother then and take action then. I don't know, but let's wait and see. But there you go.
When I am president of the Islamic Republic of Great Britain,
the Emir or whatever,
I will ban Big Brother.
Yeah, the Emir. I've always wondered what, because there's a sultanate, so you could be a sultan, an Emir. You've got to have some kind of qualification to be an Emir, I'm sure, or you could be a caliph, and obviously there's no way we can establish a caliphate without a 5 pillars caliphate. But yeah, maybe that's
you're
a
just trying to
discussion for another day.
You're just trying to get the right wing to cut this section, aren't you? So they can put it on. So David Atherton or whatever, all these people on.
But anyway, I suppose I just wanted to put that in the show. I don't know why. I just wanted everyone to know about my Big Brother
people
experience.
want to know about your.
But there's an event coming up.
Highlights of your life.
I think you want to talk about an event on the weekend.
Yeah,
an
so
actual
brothers and
event
sisters,
worth knowing about.
Brothers and sisters, so we'll leave the realms of Robert Fantasyland to actual reality.
From Beirut to Big Brother.
So Islam,
that would have been a good documentary.
Islam Channel this Saturday and Sunday are putting on the GPU conference, the Global Peace of Unity Conference, which is taking place in Excel Centre, the Excel Centre in East London. And 5 Pillars are going to be there. We're going to have a stall so we can meet. So forget about all the speakers that are going to be there.
Oh no, Roshan's going to be there.
And the international nasheed artists. We're going to have a tiny stall in the corner, which is going to be the main attraction, of course.
Yeah, of
course. Brothers and sisters, yeah, come along to the Global Peace and Unity Conference. I went to the very first one. I was working at Islam Channel at the time. And it was actually quite a big success. I think they had 25,000 people there each day. Nice. So it's Saturday and Sunday.
Nice.
So there's going to be an area where there's stalls, apparently. And we're going to have a stall. And we're going to be flogging. What are we going to be flogging?
I don't know. We're not shirt, I suppose.
We're not going to be flogging anything. We're not going to be flogging anything. We're literally there to shake people's hands, to take selfies.
Shake you down as
take
well.
Selfies, to meet and greet. And, well, I'm not going to do the selfies, but I'm sure Robert will.
Don't worry, everyone. If you're worried about meeting Roshan, I will also be there. So you can just meet me.
Look, just come along for a chat. We don't want anything from you. Just like, it'd be nice to meet people that, you know, comment on our social media. So, yeah, we're going to be there kind of all day, on and off.
Yeah.
And we might even be there Sunday. That hasn't been decided. But Saturday, we'll definitely be there.
Yeah, so Saturday's the main day. I'm looking forward to it. It's the first time I've been. And I'm looking forward to it, especially going on behalf of 5 Pillars as well. That'll be quite fun, I think. So, yeah, inshallah, it should be a good
Come along. Saturday and Sunday. This weekend, Excel Centre, East London, massive Muslim conference. Apart from us, there'll be loads of food. There'll be loads of stalls. All the Muslim businesses and organisations will be there. There'll be a stage with internationally renowned speakers. I think Numan Ali Khan is coming.
Oh, nice.
Then there'll be nasheed artists if nasheeds are your type of thing. They're certainly not my type of thing, but some people like nasheeds. Allegedly.
I like a good nasheed.
Yeah, do you? Yeah. I'm not into it at all. But anyway, I'm not trying to downplay the whole thing, but yeah.
I told you, Roshan, he's like this, okay? But don't worry, there'll be plenty of other things to do.
I'm not interested in nasheeds. I will listen to
complaining about everything.
I will listen to some of the speakers, but not all of them. But the nasheeds, that's something that I'll give a miss, I think.
That's fine. Well,
I didn't even need to say that, did I really?
I don't even know why you're coming, to be honest.
Come along on Saturday and
Don't spoil the
and
mood.
ask me about politics and ask Robert about Big Brother and how else can we flog it? How else can we sell it? I'm not selling it very well. Do you want to do a bit of selling?
I'm looking forward to it. It should be great, inshallah. There'll be plenty of things to do there with us and without us as well. And the food will be great, I'm sure, at the very least. So you'll get something good to eat, if not good company. But there we go.
If you want to buy us some food and like give us some food.
Great. Well, this is all good stuff on Muslims Uncensored. Where else do you find this type of content?
Nonsense.
Exactly. But anyway, thank you very much.
But it is true, isn't it? If you look at all the other Muslim podcasts, they're all dead serious, aren't they? And it's like, we have to behave, and even the jokes are a bit kind of like scripted, aren't they? Whereas our rubbish jokes, at least they're like, off the cuff.
We're honestly rubbish at
we are
jokes.
Genuinely rubbish at everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least it's real.
Yeah, at least it's real. So yeah, there you go. We're real here at Five Pillars. Do tune in. We will get back to doing Muslims Uncensored more regularly now that I'm back from my trip to Lebanon, inshallah, and make sure you tune in again. We should be doing it routinely on Wednesday now going forward. Any major breaking news, we tend to do lives as well, so keep your eye out for those, especially if the situation in the Middle East continues to escalate as it has been over the past year. Thank you very much, everyone. It's Assalamu alaikum for now, and until next time, we'll catch you in the comments section below.